For the papers now. Let's see what the headlines are saying across Nigeria this morning. And I have with me to do justice to this journalist and analyst as well, Ambrose Igboke. Ambrose, good morning.
Thank you, Mike.
It's nice to have you join us.
Thank you very much.
The traffic, I wonder how you handled the traffic getting here this morning.
Well, combined with, I had to do Formula One driving.
Interesting. Now, from all sides, getting here, it's just something else. Traffic this morning.
Yesterday, I spent 4 hours between Bega to Bagada. 4 hours. You know, so when it rains in Lagos, when it pours.
Yeah, the rains, exactly. And then between yesterday and this morning, some of the accidents here and there didn't help matters.
Yes,
we just spoke with our correspondent now, who gave us a breakdown of what happened along that side.
May God save us from Lagos.
Well, it's okay. We'll get along. Let's see what the headlines are saying now. Daily Sun is where we start from this morning. EFCC were probing Governor Okwoche, others. That is what the EFCC is revealing this morning on the Daily Sun. Okay, from Daily Sun, let's go to this day. Nigeria's GDP shrinks to 2.01% in the first quarter of 2019. Okay, from this day, let's go to The Guardian. National Assembly slams restrictions on media. That's what we'll be looking at this morning. Certainly voids accreditations, imposes stiff rules for renewal. I am not aware of guidelines, says Saraki. Editors vow to resist medieval intrusion. It's really called medieval. Very good way to cap it there. From The Guardian, let's... Let's take a look at this, Ambrose. I wonder how this came to you. Just when we see development and progress when it comes to press freedom, and then someone comes from somewhere to take us back 200 years behind. How did this come to you when you hear a headline like this, National Assembly slams restrictions on media, and it's saying that media stations who have not had experience of covering the National Assembly for 2 years will not be allowed in the next assembly?
I think they have brought the retrogressive tendencies of administration in other spheres of the country into media coverage. It's not going to stand. The media fought bigger battles, so the National Assembly will be, I'm sorry to use the word, will be a very small fry to deal with in this matter. They cannot withstand the onslaught of the media, and they shouldn't try us, because we are going to go for the jugular. You don't bring such obnoxious laws to try to hide, because the media has been very critical of the National Assembly. There are a lot of things the National Assembly have tried to do in this dispensation, and the media have been very vociferous about it. The media has gone for it. They have exposed the allowances and all the shenanigans that are going on there, all the intricacies of cross-carpeting, betrayers, and the fights they are having. So the media, for them, maybe is a threat. But that is the work of the media.
What should even be the ninth assembly is coming on board, and Nigerians were expecting that the space should even be opened more for more participants in that space.
That's why it's more perplexing, because you're on the exit door. So why are you trying to make laws for the incoming 9th Assembly? Why is the 8th Assembly trying to make laws for the incoming 9th Assembly?
But there's part of that headline here that says, I am not aware of guidelines. This is Saraki saying that. I wonder...
it came from the Directorate of the Information Desk. So I think they are just trying to do what they are not asked to do. I don't think they concord with the leadership of the National Assembly, or maybe the leadership of the National Assembly is playing to the gallery now because of the the feedback he's getting, the negative feedback. And we remember that also earlier, some 2 years ago, the administration wanted to use fake news. They wanted to bring some laws, and even the Jonathan time also, they wanted to bring some laws, social media laws and all those kind of stuff to try to, and there were some obnoxious portions of those laws that the media disagreed with. So I think the government should be more circumspect. The media freedom is sacrosanct, and it cannot be mitigated or mortgaged by any group.
All right. The point there is, when it comes to press freedom, the Constitution grants press freedom as a right, and certainly at this time when the National Assembly...
I think the National Assembly should be promoting the full implementation of FOI, exactly, and not trying the other way around. That's what they should be doing.
The media is seen as the fourth estate of the realm. After the executive, legislature, judiciary, the media is next, and certainly they should be encouraged and not not stifled. Ambrose Tibuke, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Right.
That I have in the studio public relations consultant, Ambrose Tibuke, and public affairs analyst, Sheson Okwoche. Gentlemen, thank you for brazing the traffic this morning and making it down to here.
Very active, but no problem. Thank you very much.
I think I will enroll in Formula One. The way I drove this morning.
Really?
I'm qualified.
All right, now let's head straight to the papers, and we start with the Daily Sun. AFCC, we are probing Governor Okwoche orders. Well, agony as downpour grounds Lagos. A picture of floods there on the front page. I will move to the front page of this day. Nigeria's GDP shrinks to 2.01% in first quarter 2019. Oil production rises to 1.96 mbpd. Rewani orders seek economic plan. To the Guardian now, National Assembly slams restrictions on media, voids accreditations, imposes stiff rules for renewal. I am not aware of guidelines, says Saraki. Editors vow to resist medieval intrusion. To the Nation now, floods. Lagos urges calm as heavy rains pound city, traffic jam. Stranded commuters as rains disrupt business. To the Nigerian Tribune, power sector gets CBN boost, FEC OK's intervention fund extension to Gencos. We'll be looking at that very soon. And finally, on the front page of the Vanguard, first quarter 19, insecurity, elections, slow economic growth to 2%. All right, gentlemen, the story we will be looking at is on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, where the power sector is getting a boost again by the government. I'll start with you, Sheson. What do you make of this?
The boost from the CBN to the power sector, to me, is a critical issue. I don't know how we manage situations in this country. We've given several interventions to this sector, and what we get most of the time, it's darkness, and we go time and time to invest in what is not working.
When you say invest in what is not working, well, how do you mean?
The fact remains that the other time in this country we sectionalize the Genco, the TCN, the DISCO for privatization of the end result, and as we speak, so many electricity, so many power are being generated, difficult to transmit to the end users. And of what value is it when you are making up something and the end users are not benefiting from it? And all we could get is investing in such thing. We have said it times with that number that there should be a monitoring index for every activities that we are doing in the country so that we can add value for whatever we are putting in place. That's the challenge I have with this. Not just giving money and you are not monitoring what is going on.
Ambrose, is monitoring the problem for you? Because from the report here, the government is paying its contractual obligation. So although we do not know what the details of the contract is, but an intervention fund coming again from the government.
I would like to go back a little to the history of the privatization.
Yes.
When it was unbundled from PHCN to what we have now, we found out that the government of the day sold these power stations to their cronies. They sold it to their friends. They sold it to their business associates. And they sold it to former presidents, former power brokers, and the rest, political power brokers. So it was not given to professionals. I remember that Manitoba in Canada came to bid, and some other people. In fact, some of the issues that happened led to the sack of the then Minister for Power, Bathanaji, because there was some insistence on some things to be done to be given to technical people who don't have the technical manpower. But because of political expediency, he was fired. So we got it all wrong right from time. So you cannot, as Session said, you cannot pump money to what is not working because these guys don't have the technical capacity to run these things. They are businessmen. Most of them were in oil and gas. The owners of imagine some of them. So we know them. We don't want to start mentioning names here. But what we are now saying is that, I remember in 2016, there was some intervention by CBN. There have been intervention, pumping money. So what this goes to show is that the CBN is just giving money to the power brokers, to their friends and their colleagues
to run this
thing.
power sector.
And then the government is just being insincere, because you cannot hold to TCN and then you privatize all this. So what we need in the power sector, for the power sector to work, is total deregulation of the power sector, as what happened in the telecom sector some years back.
And you think that will work?
Yes, that will work. When that works, and then, because there's some obnoxious laws in the power sector, for example, that if you produce more than 10 megawatts, you send to the national grid. And who does that in 21st century? So there should be modular, just are talking about modular power stations. We don't need all these gigantic power stations to run in whole towns. Imagine something like Ibadan electricity is running all the way from Ibadan, covering a lot of states. The same thing with Enugu, the same. So covering too many people.
But have we shown
have that kind of capacity?
The political will to ensure that we really, like you said, deregulate and ensure that, you know, states handle their states when it comes to the issue of power, generating power and distribution?
The policy is still there, like he mentioned, that if you generate above a certain
you
amount,
have to
send it to the national grid. And that is really not what we need. You see, it has gotten to a level where even at the distribution sector, just give like 2-3 transformers to business owners, technocrats who can handle it. There are lots of technical losses and commercial losses that even the discos are experiencing all the time, yes, because there is no close monitoring. Look at the huge gap. There was a policy put in place by the distribution company before this meter asset provider idea came on board. Yeah. What they do is that they will meter the transformer and said, everybody on this transformer, this is what is expected of you. When you look at the disparity, it's wild. And the next thing you see is that they will bring in huge bill. For real, the consumption on that transformer is what everybody has consumed. But do we really have everybody to be customer on that particular transformer? It's just very few people that are paying for that electricity. There is no monitoring. They call them NEPA 7, NEPA 4, people that goes
And then
behind.
there's also the issue of providing meters for consumers, which has also been shrouded in some sort of controversy.
Yeah, it has been a fraudulent racket that is going on. As I said, it's for their friends. And see, it boils down to always what I said, at the docility of the Nigerian citizen. Something happened in Bulgaria 3 years back, where they changed their prime minister. They had like 5 prime ministers in 3 weeks.
Running out of time.
Because what happened was that because they increased the power cost of electricity. But here we are being swindled every day, and then we are still sitting. We are being swindled because estimated billing is fraudulent. Yeah, it's fraudulent. We are supposed to be metered. I mean, there's a video that went viral some months back where even villages in Ghana, that is thatched houses, we're having prepaid meters. So it's not rocket science, but because they are making some fraudulent money from it and backed by government docility, because the government also gets some kind of kickback from it, there's nothing that is happening. So it is time for Nigerians to demand the right thing from the government. At least even the one we are having now, let us pay the commensurate pricing for electricity.
To what we are having.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your contribution on the paper.
And I have with me a public affairs consultant and analyst, Ambrose Igboke. He's here with me in the studio, as well as another analyst, Sheson Okwade. Gentlemen, good morning.
Thank you.
Morning, Mike.
Nice to see you all. All right, let's begin with the Daily Sun. EFCC were probing Governor Okorocha, others. That's what the Daily Sun is saying. From there, let's go to this day. Nigeria's GDP shrinks to 2.01% in the first quarter of 2019. Okay. From this day, let's go to the Guardian. National Assembly slams restrictions on the media. Okay, that's ongoing. From the Guardian, let's go to the Nation. Floods. Lagos urges calm as heavy rains pound city. A traffic jam, stranded commuters as rains disrupt business from the heavy downpour. From the Nation, let's go to the Tribune, the Nigerian Tribune. It says the power sector gets CBN boost. Federal Executive Council locates intervention fund extension to GENCOs as the generating companies. of Nigeria. Okay, fine. From the Tribune, let's go to the Vanguard now. Vanguard is the last paper this morning. First quarter 2019, insecurity, election, slow economic growth to 2%. Okay, gentlemen, that's where I'd like us to start from this morning. One way or the other, the projections were that the economy was meant to grow. The CBN gave a projection of about 3%, but this is below concern. They're talking about insecurity and other issues and so on. Sheson, let me start with you. Are you surprised with this?
Yeah, we're not surprised considering what we've been faced in the country. See, a country that is not at peace, you don't expect growth to happen there. Because the first thing everybody needs to first gather is how secured are you? So if you are not secured, even running after any economic thing is really not there. Take, for example, if you are sitting in an environment where robbery happens every day, how do you go out of that particular place to earn a living? What you need to do is you make sure that you, your wife, and your children stay in there to make sure that you are alive, to make another sense of living. But so, with the insecurity that we have everywhere in the nation, we expect the economy. We are not having the foreign people or other people that can invest into the growth of the economy, bringing some of those things. Even internally, people that should work, what everybody is actually fighting for. Look at the activities that you should have between Abuja-Kaduna Road. Because of insecurity, everybody has to go through the other route. And you know, all this informal means of income has its own contribution even to the economy. But when you grind all these activities, there is nothing that you expect than having a nosediving in the economic
All
growth.
right, Ambrose, one other area that is even more touching than analysts have been talking about is the area of food security. In Taraba State, Plateau State, Benue, Nasarawa, Zamfara, and Adamawa State, and so on. Even in Niger State, we understand there are places where farmers have not been to the farms for months now. When it comes to food security, what impact do you think it's going to have this year?
Well, generally, Nigeria is a country that imports more than it exports. In simple economic terms, you cannot have growth when you operate an economy like that. And then the consequences of the herdsmen attack on farmsteads over the years, over the last 4 years, has naturally started taking its toll. And then also our strategic grain reserve, our preservation modes. When you go to my 12 market, for example, you see perishables from the north, and you see they get destroyed because there are no ways of preserving them. So we still have issues in the agro-processing. We still have issues on sustaining the value chain. We don't focus on farming. What happens to the produce you bring out from the farm? Because that is what you eat. And so even from the access roads to the hinterland, to the farms, are not there. So by the time you're even bringing out the produce from the farm, the little farming you are doing, before it gets to the market, to the city, to people to consume them, half of them are gone. So it is a serious economy. So the government keep paying lip service to economic issues when there's no integrated economic policy. Where does this? So CBN is just doing their thing. FIRS is just doing their thing. All other sectors are just doing their thing. Ministry of Finance is doing that thing. Because I don't think there's a serious economic policy we are working. Like those days of needs. I mean, even we could see it. So it's really, we need to evolve a strategic economic policy to say in the next 1 year, this is what we want to be. In the next 3 years, this is what we want to be. When you have that, then the energy sector, the agricultural sector, the health sector, we start keying.
But with the amount of deficit we had in this country, from all sorts of infrastructure, to power, to housing, to roads, to health, to education, and all of that, do you think that it would have been easy to start seeing these benefits of democracy that we talk about from right now?
The benefits of democracy don't just come because you say it.
Okay.
They come through concerted efforts over the years. And we are wobbling back because even the one we inherited from the military, we are not even keeping them. Look at the Delta State Company, Elijah. Look at the Ajaokuta. Look at the Bashita Sugar Company. Look at the textile factories. So we are not even sustaining them. The refineries. We cannot even have modular refineries.
Okay. Now, Sheson, this year, 2019, what is your projection how things would look like? At least you are the accountant, you are the economic concerned person.
I have my fear because, sincerely speaking, there is no political will on the economic policy for this nation. Strategically, you see, Ambrose says something that an economy that is import-based can never grow. Most of the things that we consume in this country are always from the outside world. And we are not empowering people. All this trade money that we said we are giving are just for services. There are no production aspect of all those goods that we are talking of. We are service-oriented. And even if you have to go in the aspect of service, how many of these current companies imbibe the technology that things are doing? Things are changing from what it used to be those days. The people that are making so much of the money, if you are going to concentrate on the service aspect of it, we are not even investing in the technological aspect as we are supposed to be. Look at the likes of Amazon, the likes of Uber. Before now, we're talking of a country like France banning Uber from operating. But the fact remains that we import some of these ideas into this country without monitoring them. And they are eroding our economy, developing their own side of it. So there must be an effort on the part of the government to make sure that things are domesticated.
But if you talk about them eroding our economy, the point there is, you also have to point to the fact that a lot of Nigerians who originally would have been on the streets or not finding jobs are engaged with all of these companies.
You see, it's not in that aspect. You are giving them that work to do. But the end means of those guys providing that services, of amount of contribution are they giving back to the country? You see, I can provide a service for you to enjoy and make money for yourself, but the bottom line is just like a company that is doing those things, how much of the tax are they actually remitting back to us for government to make some of these things available to us? You have provided infrastructure.
You're talking about the quantum of benefits to at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, it should be holistic, not just in the aspect of providing transportation means for everybody to do without giving that a backup on a global view.
All right, we have to leave it here now. Sheson Okwoche, thank you very much for coming. And Ambrose Ikpoyi, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.